What's going on, friends? It's Anton Daniels, and I gotta have a conversation with you guys about Tiege Hanley because you see how the sun is hitting me. This is no finesse, no makeup, no filters, no none of that. This is 100% Tiege Hanley. I use it in the morning as soon as I get up, right after I pray and brush my teeth, jump in the shower, and I'm hitting the streets because you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So even though they're giving you 40% off your first order, 20% off for life, even though you may get a free gift, forget all that, right? Because we would do this even if it was full price because it's worth that much. I'm in the streets, I'm kicking it with people when I see Dusties everywhere. You don't want to be them. You want to separate yourself. And the way that you separate yourself is self-care. Ladies get it for the fellas. Fellas don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. I'm about to hit the streets right now and I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling great. I mean, I already got confidence, but to have that extra boost of confidence, knowing that you've taken care of yourself and you set yourself apart from all of the rest of the sheep that's walking around making bad decisions on a daily basis. And it's reflected in their actions. It's reflected in the products that they use. It's reflected in the people that they follow. And so if you're trying to level up, if you're trying to make sure that you look good, they're going to send you the pack. They're going to give you all of the instructions on how you're supposed to use it. Then make sure you get your Tiege Hanley. Again, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. Get your free gift. Make sure you tap in with your boy Anton Daniels because Unc is never going to lead you wrong. I would never have you use a product that I don't use myself. Again, they've been rocking with me for a long time. Make sure you get your Tiege Hanley. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I am your host, Anton Daniels. What up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up? What's going on, friends and family? I got a loaded show for y'all today. We also got after hours that's happening at around 10, maybe 10:05 Eastern Standard Time, and then you can adjust for your time zone. I thought about taking a trip this weekend. I'm not going to lie. I thought about taking a trip this weekend because I said, you know what? The weather is a little bit dreary. I don't know. I have no clue. For those of y'all that are tuning into my vlog, I guess you'll have to see and wait and find out and see where I just pop up at. I might just stay home. I don't know. You never know. You never know. I know a lot of people are enjoying the vlog. So what up to y'all? What up to everybody that hold us down? I appreciate y'all. Y'all are the greatest friends and audience on the face of this earth. But again, I got a full show for y'all today. So I'm going to delve into a couple different controversial topics. Of course, we want to present the news. I want to obviously deal with the culture because we know that a LA Crip leader has been arrested by the FBI. So I'm definitely going to talk about that. Let me make sure that I got my audio right. So we're going to talk about that, and we have to talk about the Department of Education being dismantled. So that news came out early this morning, and we have to talk about segregation. A lot of people have been asking me my opinion on the abolishing of segregation, some way, shape, or form. So we'll talk about that in real time. So we got a lot of conversations, and I think that these conversations are going to extend over and spill over into after hours tonight. So if you are not subscribed to this platform and if you've been here more than once, then I suggest that you do so and turn on your notifications. Also, make sure you subscribe to all of the other platforms that you catch me on because you don't want to miss a video. And if you are not a part of the Patreon, just look at Rita, we should definitely go out of town. If you are not a part of the Patreon, link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. All right. So what up? What up, friends and family? You said nobody cares about Crips. Well, I tend to disagree with that. I think we should get right into that story right away. Let me read a couple of these cash apps and we'll get right into it because I think that it's more of a discussion that we have to have. We have to have some real life discussions and some reality checks because it's a lot of misinformation that's being presented to you. It's a lot of influence that's being levied over you. And I think that we need to have these conversations. All right. Yeah. Let's get into it. Let me read some of these cash apps. TL May says, salute, TL. You hit me with a 50 ball early on a Thursday morning, a Friday Eve. Thank you, TL Mays. I appreciate you. It does not go unnoticed. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You are super appreciated. Mike, that dude, as usual, the most consistent person that I've seen in my entire life is in the building. And then Spencer Campbell, as always, holding me down, says, good morning, AD. Good morning, Spencer Campbell. I appreciate you for holding me down, my friend. What up to everybody in the chat? Oh, y'all seen me giving out money to the streets? See me giving out money to the streets? This is y'all first time kind of becoming familiar with it. So some of y'all are seeing it and you're like, oh my God, Anton. And listen, I do need to listen to the people. I understand that y'all say, Anton, you need even more protection and all of this stuff. Honestly, in my mind, first of all, I always got somebody around. Let's be clear about that. But honestly, in my mind, it's almost like God is my protection. But I also believe that God gives me insight from people that really care about me. But that's not uncommon. Forget the protection part. It's not uncommon for me to actually make sure. And I've told y'all this. I've been telling y'all this for years now. I've told y'all that I tithe to the streets. I tithe to the streets. A lot of people have always asked me, Anton, what do you think about tithes and offerings and all of that stuff? And that's largely tied to making sure that the church stays supported and stuff like that. And I've always paid tithes and offerings. But within the last, I would say 7-8 years, I've always tithed to the streets. So a percentage of what I take home or a percentage of what I keep, I always make sure that I feed the streets. And it's not even a percentage, honestly. I give way more. And so sometimes I'll try to give out, 1,000, 2,000. I try to be in different locations so people can't anticipate where I'm going to be at. So the YNs ain't chasing me around. I've largely always done it off camera because I understand that people don't want to see you doing anything for anybody else because they're going to say, oh my God, this is your reward already. I'm not looking for a reward. I've seen some people in my comments and they say, see, if you do it publicly, then, your reward is already given. You already got your glory. I don't do it for a reward. I do it because the people need it. I don't take care of homeless people, give people hotel rooms, get people cleaned up, get people in the help that they need, institutions and stuff like that, give out thousands and thousands of dollars every single month. I will tell you, it's some months that I give out $20,000, $25,000. I don't do it because I'm looking for glory. It's the reason why you just now found out about it about 8 years after I've already been doing it. I do it because I love my people. And I was telling people in the video that the reason that I don't respect a lot of these people like the Umar Johnsons and these black leaders and all of this, and you'll see people on Monday nights or they'll make reaction videos to me and say, oh man, he is sellout or he don't, he this or he that. Do I now need to start putting the camera on me for you to understand exactly who it is that I am and what I do? Because your leaders, the people that y'all profess are the best for y'all, they keep y'all entangled on a Democratic plantation. They keep you with a slave mindset, making sure that you'll be a victim. And they take money from their communities. They don't give it out. They take money from their communities. They don't take care of their communities. I love the place that I was born and raised, and I love the people in the places that I'm born and raised. And so I am in the streets and I make sure that the kids are taken care of. And I make sure that college scholarships are funded. And I send people to community colleges and I make sure that people have jobs and we get them hotel rooms if they're on the streets and we make sure that they can eat for the rest of the week. And for some people, I know that you think that it's a game, but for some people, that's a lifeline. For some young people, for some girls that I run into on a regular basis, it's the way that they feed themselves. For some people that's on the streets, it's the way that they survive. And so that's not a glory moment for me. That's an opportunity for me to play a role in other people's lives because for me, I am the Elon Musk of my city. I'm the Elon Musk of my people. And it doesn't mean that I'm the only person doing great things in the city because people do things according to their heart, according to their capability. But I am incredibly blessed. Incredibly blessed. And I work very hard, but I also understand that I love people. So it's so funny when you see people come on these platforms or they exalt these people or they try to criticize you and they say, well, you ain't nothing, you ain't this, or you don't, the black community, black movement. I don't pay them no mind because we do it in real life. The streets love me because the streets embrace me and I make sure that their kids is fed. I make sure that people have housing. Even the businesses that I have, I don't gouge people. When I build houses or when I rent properties out to people, they pay the same thing that they've been paying since they signed up for rent. And that's why I never have people that leave, because I love people. I can make a healthy profit or a halfway decent profit, and I'm doing really well in my life without having to gouge people. Sometimes I'm not even gonna be on. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. It hurts my feelings when I see people that'll tell me of who I ain't to the black community and I ain't black enough because I'm not a Democrat and all of that stuff. It hurt my feelings. It does hurt my feelings. And I know that they saying it out of ignorance because they don't know no better. And I know that they ain't never did nothing for nobody except for get on a live stream and talk shit. But it hurts my feelings. It genuinely hurts my feelings because I've given out millions of dollars. I've given out jobs and resources and scholarships and all of these different things. And it's just like, so because I align with a party that is more core and principle based off of a constitution and American values and traditional values, and you got other people that are baby mamas and won't even marry y'all and creating broken families and begging y'all for money and for cash apps and stuff, they better than me? So I think that kind of, showing the problems and the troubles and also the triumphs and the things that we do behind the scenes on the vlog could be beneficial, because maybe it'll inspire other people to do things that are productive and conducive for their communities instead of always looking at what they can get. I don't know. Rome says, man, get your feelings out of this. Out of this is about faith walk. Rome, respectfully, suck my dick. Respectfully. I don't know. Maybe the church shouldn't put this on today. Maybe the daycares can't watch this today. Respectfully, suck my dick. You don't tell me what it is that I can feel. What are you doing? Don't nobody, how you gonna tell me what it is that I can feel? You know I got feelings too. You know I got emotions. I'm sensitive. I'm sensitive. How you gonna tell me what you doing? And if I didn't have so much love for my people, I'd cut all of y'all off. Real talk. So tired of people telling me what it is that they don't do nothing. You just talk. You ain't even got an avatar. You're just talking. I'm sensitive about my community. I never left Detroit. I always been in the city. Respectfully. What's wrong with these people? Somebody said, why are you talking like that? Because sometimes people need to be put in their place. Like, I don't need advice from you. I don't need advice about faith. I don't need advice about money. And I certainly don't need advice about women or relationships. I got all three of those covered. So if you want to give advice about fitness, we welcome that. If you want to give advice about running fast, cool. If you want to give advice about politics, I'm open to it. But women, faith, and business, I got all three of those on lock. I'm good on those. I promise you. Women, business, faith, we good. Everything else is open for conversation. The rest of it, you can keep your thoughts to yourself. Respectfully. And maybe I'm just in my feels today. It's Thursday. It's raining outside. I think the rain affects my mood. Leave me, dog. Today is not going to be the day. Today is not going to be the day. If you looking for somebody to make you feel good about yourself today, I'm not I'm not that Anton. I might be Darth Anton today. Most of the time, I'm today. I don't need your advice. I'm just telling you, I don't need your advice. And if that bothers you, I'm going to triple down on that and say, suck my dick. Anyways, make sure, and God, Lord, help me. Help me, Lord. You know that I struggle like a regular human being. It's this flesh. It's this flesh that you put me in. You know what I'm saying? Forgive me, God. Forgive me. Don't let me to tell people to suck my dick on a live stream on the Millionaire Morning Show. This is a family show. I get it. Forgive me. Forgive me, chat. Forgive me, God. Bless me to come back to the front of the congregation, hold myself accountable, and have changed behavior. I love you. Appreciate you, God, in Jesus' name. Anyways, make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on my notifications. Turn on your notifications, bro. This is the realest show ever. That's why they don't want to give me my 30 million. They don't know if I'm going to say that online. They don't know if I'm going to say that on legacy media. Shout out to the Pistons. Shout out to Cade Cunningham and all of the Pistons. Y'all out there wrecking it, killing it, absolutely tearing the league up. I know they robbed us with Oklahoma City, but we made sure that we paid the Pelicans and we paid the Miami Heat some get back. All right, we gonna get our get back. Shout out to Cade Cunningham. Shout out to Kay's brother. Shout out to Kay's Cunningham brother. Anyways, we love you, appreciate y'all. Let's get into the show, man. Read some of these super chats and we're gonna get to it. When are you gonna interview Anton Daniels? When I feel like it, if I feel like it. You know, I go based off of my mood, off of my sentiment, off of my discernment. I'm not feeling like I'm jumping into it right here, right now. Maybe next week, maybe 2 days from now, maybe 3 days from now, maybe next month. I don't know. Maybe I don't do it at all. But I go with off of my discernment. That's why I ain't been doing no interviews. You know what I'm saying? Because I just been like on my own wave right now. I'm interviewing myself. I'm interviewing myself right now. This is an Anton Daniels wave. I ain't even interested in bringing nobody in here to talk in the studio. I know I redid the studio. I ain't interested in kicking it with nobody. I ain't on none of that. I'm on my own tip right now. I'm feeling myself. I love myself. I'm working on myself. I'm growing exponentially every single day. I'm on my own wave. I ain't even checking for nobody. I ain't checking for no celebrities. I ain't even checking my DMs. I don't even be caring about what nobody else talking about. I'm on my own tip right now. I'm feeling myself. Real talk. I get there when I get there, man. I get there when I get there. I'm feeling myself. I am him. I'm him, bro. I'm real talk him. So I'll let everybody else in the building when I get done getting my fill. And that ain't no shot. That ain't no shots to nobody else. I just love myself right now. I'm feeling myself. Anyways, let me get to the rest of these super chats. So shout out to him. We'll see what happens. Appreciate all that you do, said Andrew. What up, Andrew? I appreciate you too. Wyatt 856 says, like Jazz tell it, you hate the blacks and you don't know nothing about a relationship, but I see a blueprint. We gonna do the work. Pray right now, says Airwell Harris. I'm on it. I'm on it. Now, I'm going to take my time on this live stream today. Nichelle says, nah, Unc, you the best at what you do from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. Officially enrolled in cybersecurity program. God is good. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. I'll pay 80s curse and tariff today. Shout out to Banks Hayes. I appreciate that. Tariff. TBAS. Jay says, continue to be unapologetically black, Anton. A lot of black folks are stuck in a sunken place. I'm unapologetically a saint. AD, have you heard of the crypto project Telcoin? I have not. Sound like a scam. Gemini P says, is there a way that I can contact you to pitch my mobile app concept for money transfers? I'm seeking for funding to complete the app by summer. Why do you need funding to complete the app? Why do you need funding to complete the app? You can email me. Chris Cunningham says, Carrie's shaking her head saying, Anton? Yeah, I know. Let me make sure I get myself together. I don't want to get tariffed by HR. Maybe it's the lights.
I need to do it on a more friendly light. I got that red. That red did something to me. It made me a little bit more spicy. Maybe we go orange. Orange may be a little bit better. What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? My mic has been a little off lately. Sound a little distorted when he speaks loud. Thank you for the feedback. Thank you for the feedback. I appreciate that. All right, let's get into it. I want to get straight into the show. I don't want to waste no time. Let's get it. What up, Al? What up, all of my people that's in the chat? I love y'all. I truly do love y'all. Sabrina, don't deal with my bipolarness. Molly, what up? J Ben, what's going on? Azriel, I love you. Yakar, young champ. Tom here, Kev Wild, Keyshawn White, I love y'all. I love y'all. We gonna get into it. Come on, man. Let's get into the show. Forget all of this nonsense. Let's get to it because I don't want to be looking crazy out here in these streets. Keep on telling people what it is that they should do for me. Sherry, what up? So, Big U. Big U is largely considered a leader of the Crips. And I seen somebody in the chat say, nobody cares about the Crips. Well, what about the children that are influenced by it? What about the people in the community? What about all of the things that are happening in the culture that we identify as trash because we celebrate it the most? And we got grown men that's 40, 50, 30, 60, 70 years old still out here cripping, trying to influence your children and your kids. And it's a culture over in certain environments like over in Los Angeles where you are expected to be a part of gang culture. You are expected to have stripes. You are expected to put in some work. You are expected to steal cars. You are expected to possibly kill people. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. But this guy has finally been arrested. He regularly appears on No Jumper. I think that Adam 22 is trash, and he has a trash platform, regardless of how many subscribers that he has. I think that he's another person that is horrible, not only for black culture, but for American culture. But this is what's going on with Big U. Recently been arrested by the feds. He went live, I think it was yesterday before he turned himself in. This is what's going on.
And in fact, we're following several breaking news stories at this hour. We begin with that South LA man who the feds say used taxpayer money and donations to fund gang activities. In the past hour, we've learned that Eugene Hanley Jr. and Brian Mejia were taken into custody. Hanley Jr. is a longtime leader of the Rolling 60s Crips, according to the FBI. But in recent years, he worked in entertainment and ran a youth charity that the acting U.S. attorney now says was a front for his criminal enterprise. NBC4's Camilla Rambaldi live in downtown L.A. with the very latest developments on this. Camilla?
Now, hi, Colleen. 19 defendants in total in connection to this criminal enterprise. At least two of them appeared in federal court earlier today. And now, as you mentioned, Eugene Hanley and another fugitive are now in custody tonight in connection to this case. A known community activist and founder of a youth nonprofit in South LA, now facing federal charges.
Whenever I hear somebody says community activist or somebody that is active in the community and they are a former gang member and stuff, and I'm not saying that you can't change a life, but usually for me, that's a red flag. Usually for me, that's a red flag. That's a front. That's a front, and it's an excuse for them to continue to stay in the hood. When I see people that can get out the hood, that don't get out the hood, or when I see people that continues to glorify something, or they say, I want the young bucks to put in some work, or they still out in the streets, and there's people online that's like that. Yo, fam, when you start getting gray in your whiskers, when you start getting wisdom whiskers, it's time to walk away. It's time to go ahead and do something different. Usually when I see people that are community activists, or they start to label themselves as community activists, that to me screams red flag. It screams front, personally.
A career criminal known as Big U.
Eugene Hanley is accused of being a longtime leader of the Rolling 60s Crips street gang. Federal prosecutors say Hanley ran a criminal enterprise and is accused of a number of crimes, including racketeering, human trafficking, fraud, and the 2021 murder of a musician.
He has maintained the image of an entertainment industry entrepreneur running a music label, and of somebody who gives back to the community here in Los Angeles. The facts alleged in the complaint paint a very different picture. It is one of a murder, a thief, a liar.
Federal authorities say there are other alleged gang members facing charges they say are connected to the criminal enterprise. A number of arrests were made this week. These sketches show two defendants, Sylvester Robinson and Mark Martin, in federal court Wednesday.
Look at dog. Look at dog right here. Look. Dad bod, gray beard, and this is just a sketch, so I'm sure it's pretty bad. No hair in the back of the head, none of that. And you still getting arrested for this stuff. Like, listen, I'm not telling y'all to commit crimes. I'm not telling y'all to do something negative. But dog, if you're gonna get arrested today, if you're getting arrested past 40, you're gonna have to tell me you're getting arrested for something like tax fraud or something. I can understand that. You know what? You're getting too much money. You're trying to figure it out. That's something that you can fight. I even believe that you might be really innocent until proven guilty. Like, if you getting arrested past 40, you're going to have to tell me that you're getting arrested for something outside of the same things that the young dudes is getting arrested for. Don't get arrested for drugs and RICO and all of that type. But you still talking about you killing people, rappers, somebody disrespected you. If you're getting arrested after the age of 40, tell me that it's something that you did that's actually like a grown man charge. And don't get me wrong, I don't advocate for anybody to get arrested, but tell me you did something else. You know what I'm saying? A Ponzi scheme or something. Y'all out here, you ain't got no hair in the back of your head and you still putting in work?
Showed two defendants, Sylvester Robinson and Mark Martin, in federal court Wednesday afternoon.
4 of the 19 defendants were already in custody.
You can't have knee problems. You can't have bad health getting arrested. You can't get arrested before you go to your doctor's appointment. We too old for this. We too old. You know, I'll be seeing people that still be like, yeah, man, I'm from 7 Mile. I'm from 8 Mile. No, I was raised between 7 Mile and 8 Mile, between Norfolk and Chippewa, specifically Livernois and Wyoming. That was where I grew up. Now, if you're not in there making sure that you're paying your taxes and changing your community and making sure that your grass is mowed, or you joining some block club or something like that, no, I'm not claiming anything. This is where I live, and I'd like to beautify my community. We too old. We too old to still be stuck on this 18-year-old mindset. I know people that still be on Facebook arguing over stuff that happened in high school. Man, I ain't lying. Somebody showed me something, and they say, yeah, this person from high school was getting it. Dog, wasn't y'all battle dancing in 1998, 99 for the 2000? I seen y'all battle dance. Y'all still arguing? You battle danced over a girl in high school. Tell me you not still arguing. What you arguing about, Claude? You know Claude from Life? Martin Lawrence and Eddie Murphy was still arguing when they was old. Got the bottle, foot stuck in the bottle. Dog, the girl pissed you off. You could never see me jitting. Footwork. Now you arguing over stuff that could take your life. Y'all got kids, grandkids. I recently had to get a hotel room for somebody because they was going through some stuff. And then I found out that they still arguing with women, and women is busting their window. You still bust your windows out your car. You still Jasmine Sullivan getting your windows bust out your car. You still dealing with these chicks busting windows out your car. You riding down the street with spray paint on your car because a girl knifed your junk up. Really? Come on, man. When we gonna grow up? You still putting in work in the hood, banging, rolling yellows. Bodak yellow. Grow up. Get out the hood. I seen a dude on a live the other day, and he was at a bar. He was doing like this. I said, oh, God, Lord, give us maturity in our spirit.
Defendants were taken into custody in the last 24 hours.
Court documents also
Somebody
say
said you're showing your age. And I'm thankful for that because it's a blessing to get old. Listen, when you age and when you get older, it is a blessing. I'm going to play the video. When you get older, it's a blessing. To show your age is a blessing. Pray that you make it to 30, 40, 50 years old. Pray that you get there. I don't want to be like y'all. You think I want to hang out with you in the same places that you are? I don't want to be with you. I don't want to go to the same spaces that you are. You can't sit where I sit. I sit courtside. You can't afford those seats. You know what I'm saying? I pay my taxes. You can't come to the places that we go to. We like going to cigar bars and listening to jazz music. I still listen to Shaka Khan when I come to work. You know what I'm saying? I like playing Sade. I'm not interested in hanging with you. I don't want to do nothing with you. You play basketball. The way that my knees are set up is that I don't want to tear an ACL, TCL, BCL, or DCL. And so in order to do preventative maintenance, we going to go elliptical. I don't run on treadmills. I do ellipticals because I want to make sure that my knees is what they doing, what they supposed to do. I'm not interested. I'm not competing with you. I don't want to hang out with you. I don't want to deal with you. I don't want to argue with you. I'm not trying to convince you to do anything like that. I'm telling you that you can do what you do, and we going to be over here with the grown folk. We trying to get money, travel, sit on beaches, vacations, have sex all day, pay back ties to our community, and have all of the good energy and all of the good times and the drinks flowing, and for people to have fun. Ain't nobody trying to hang out with you. I'm chilling. I'm discovering sports that I've never seen before. Tennis, racquetball. Dog, I'm trying to go to the U.S. Open. I ain't kidding you. You trying to go to Houston to Mocha Fest. I'm trying to go to the U.S. Open and go see a tennis court match. I want to go to Monaco and see the F1 races. I'm going to go to Vegas and see the F1 races and make sure that I got a good seat. I'm trying to have a pretty young thing bringing me drinks all day long. Ain't nobody trying to be hanging out with you. We good. I was thinking about giving up courtside seats and going to get a suite just so I could sit up there and just be like this. Crazy. I don't even want to be on camera no more. I don't even want to be on camera no more on the court. I'm thinking about getting a suite and be chilling in the suite, eating chicken strips and fries. Nobody hanging with y'all.
Fraudulently obtained funding from the city of Los Angeles through the Gang Reduction Youth Development Foundation. Henley was the founder behind the nonprofit Developing Options that helps support at-risk youth.
Mr. Henley duped the county of Los Angeles by running a nonprofit named Developing Options, which was set up to pull youth out of the gang life and promote anti-gang solutions. Yet Mr. Henley continued to personally orchestrate violent gang activity that impact our communities.
Court documents state Henley had drawn hundreds of thousands of dollars for his own use.
Mr. Henley is accused of embezzling donations made by celebrities, professional athletes, and businesses to his charity.
Federal prosecutors say Henley could face a 20-year prison sentence if convicted on the racketeering charges.
Think about doing 20 years when you're 50 and you're 60. You may never even get out. Think about going to jail when you're in your 50s and your 60s and you're facing 20 years and you may even have to do a cop plea. Maybe you got to do 8, 9, who knows? Man, what? I got to go in here when I'm 50 and 60?
And we have learned this evening Eugene Henley and Brian Mejia are expected to be in court tomorrow. In downtown LA, Camila Rambaldi, NBC 4 News.
Government and tax records show millions of dollars poured into the nonprofit the feds say was at the center of this criminal enterprise. Our investigative reporter Eric Leonard joins us now with more on how this organization was being funded and where all this money was going. Eric.
Oh, hi, Michael. Well, the most surprising discovery here is that the nonprofit called the Ex-Offender Fellowship Network, which was also known as Developing Options, a pair of nonprofits that the city says were essentially one entity, were facing suspensions from state tax authorities. The city of LA has been paying these nonprofits millions of dollars in recent years, and the amounts have only gone up. The California Franchise Tax Board issued a suspension notice in April 2024 for one of the nonprofits operated by Tiege Hanley Jr., who federal prosecutors in L.A. announced Wednesday faces racketeering and corruption charges for allegedly misusing money meant for the city's gang intervention efforts. Henley's most recent contract with the city shows a payment of nearly $800,000 due in July 2024.
Unreal. Finessing a city, stealing tax. That's why Trump is out here auditing the federal government. We need to do it on the locals level too. Y'all basically funding gang activity. That's why I know that LA and all of that junk is so corrupt. Man, listen, corruption runs all throughout society. Getting money from the city for gang prevention. Stupid, bro.
The final installment of a 4-year agreement that paid his groups more than $2.2 million for intervention.
Crazy.
Hanley, seen here in a red carpet photo, began forming the nonprofits in 2009, according to state records. They began receiving city gang intervention funding as far back as 2011. Between 2018 and 2023, LA Controller payment records show Henley's groups received around $500,000 a year. Then, in 2023, a significant increase that followed then-Mayor Eric Garcetti's efforts to increase funding for intervention work after.
So when you see these protesters and these Black Lives Matters people and these black people saying, we need more money for gang interventions, we need more money for community involvement, we need more money for recreation centers, now you know where it goes. Now you know where it goes. They start these nonprofits and it basically continues to fund their lifestyle and fund whatever it is that they got going on. Meanwhile, they saying, man, I'll hit you up. I had that dude killed over there in Las Vegas and Nevada because he was talking tough on a record about me. Hands and everything.
The rise in violent street crime that followed the COVID-19 pandemic. Looking at the tax records for the Ex-Offender Fellowship, which includes the city money and private donations, you can see its revenue went from around $500,000 a year to nearly $800,000, then to nearly $2 million for 2023, the last tax return available.
That was the big time where all black people kind of benefited from all of these donations and city funding, federal funding, from corporate funding. Anything that was a black organization, they finessed everything.
Where was the money going? The tax returns show while Tiege Hanley Jr. was paid $95,000 as president and director, nearly all the money collected went to compensate unnamed top staff members, including corporate officers, directors, and trustees.
Oh, man, when we gonna do better? When are we gonna do better?
According to the criminal complaint, Hanley diverted much of that money to his personal bank accounts, and the feds say he allegedly pocketed tens of thousands of dollars in donations intended for the groups, including a $20,000 contribution from an NBA All-Star. Federal authorities say in addition to all of that, they believe that Hanley evaded taxes by not reporting all of this income, was also allegedly involved in a scheme to get a home loan that he wouldn't have qualified for otherwise. We asked the city of L.A. for its response about its oversight of these gang intervention programs. The mayor's office sent us some remarks a few minutes ago. It said the city has strict oversight in place, but they say the allegations made public today show that there was a sophisticated scheme to thwart that kind of oversight. Live in the News Operations Center, I'm investigative reporter Eric Leonard, NBC4 News.
Crazy. So that was happening over there with Big U and them. Again, I don't support gang culture. I don't support toxic culture. When I say, and when I've said that black culture is absolutely trash and the things that we celebrate the most, I meant it. And I'm not talking about all black people. I'm talking about the culture, the things that we promote, the things that we push, the things that we say that our children should be involved in, the things that y'all keep saying. Oh man, you're a former prison member. Let them go ahead and run the community and understand the mindset of the young people. Nah, dog, they need to go to school. They need real mentorship. They need people and business owners and business leaders. We need to be learning machine learning and AI. Y'all keep playing basketball and all of this other type of stuff, man. Ain't nobody going for that type of junk. But That's just to keep y'all in the loop of what's going on in the streets. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let me read some of these super chats. Dizzy Husband says, good morning, people. Shout out to Anton for saying it with your chest. Let's get it. We here. Keyshawn White says, what is this segregation reverse everybody talking about? We're going to get to it towards the end of the show. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to show you exactly what's happening. Chase the Alpha says, it's like that Dave Chappelle skit when Calvin got the job at Cardinals. And instead of being happy, folks were hating and wanted to rob him. Bill DeBerg Boy says, good morning, AD. I will be around Metro Detroit next week. Lost one of my first. Jen Cousins, female 42, died from a heart attack after losing her job the same day. Man, praying for your family. God bless you, bro. Shaking my head. SMD 80 baby girl is in the car. Come on, big dog. What you mean, baby girl is in the car? What? Oh, your baby girl. Okay, I thought you were saying your girlfriend. I got you. Have you checked into the segregation ban? I am going to talk about it. I'm gonna break it down. Pookie's friend Ray Ray says, I heard Crips can't use Netflix or stop at red lights, and that they're offended when they bleed because their blood is red. Chase and Tien says, Anton, what do you think about Charleston White? Charleston White is my guy. I talked to him the other day. Eric Wealth Harris says, running the streets with bad knees and gout is crazy. That may be Maxine Waters in a Eugene Henley mask. Sounds about right. What up, Sienna? Sienna says, Embody Pursuit, I'm new here and I love it. Sienna Embody Pursuit says, I'm new here and I love it. Shout out to Sienna. Y'all make sure y'all give Sienna a warm welcome and round of applause. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Tiege Hanley, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. And then make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Welcome to all of the new subscribers. Welcome to all of the people that's in the chat. Welcome to all of the new bag chasers. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Let me just double check something real quick to make sure I ain't missing nobody. Rand Wilson. What up? The Rand Wilson says, cleaning LA up before the Olympics and the World Cup. I might be out there for the World Cup. World Cup sound fun. I might be out there for the Olympics too. I might have to send Quentin and Slimmy out there, my official representatives for after hours. Anyways, make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm. I'm going to read y'all super chats. I'll continue to read it throughout the show. Today, as of this morning, right, they're saying that Trump is in the process and is expected, this is straight out of the White House, is expected to dismantle the Department of Education. Make sure y'all hit a like. Let's rock out and find out what's going on. Let's get to it.
So today, President Trump pushing forward with his plan to abolish the Department of Education completely when he signs an executive order making it official. President Reagan was the first to call for this. Fox News contributor Bill Bennett served as Reagan's education secretary, and he joins us now. Good morning, Bill.
Hey, good morning. Good morning, Lawrence. How are you?
So, good, brother. So this is a few things that are going to come out in this executive order. He's going to direct the education secretary to facilitate closures of departments. He's going to return education authority to the states, continue to ensure effective, uninterrupted delivery of services and programs and benefits, and he's going to prevent programs from receiving funds from advancing DEI or gender ideology. Is this a good thing?
Yeah, it's a good thing. In terms of far-reaching, I think what he's doing in higher ed may have a greater impact overall, but we'll see. There's a question as to whether he can send a lot of this back to the states, which is one of the main things they're doing, without congressional authority. These programs were created by the states, by the legislatures, federal legislature, and he may need their approval. But I would actually go one better, one tougher than the president. Instead of just sending it back to the states, send it back to the people. Do you really want to give 15% of your grants to the state of California and say, do with this whatever you want? I don't think so. Why not send it directly to the people and let them, in the form of scholarships or grants or vouchers, whatever you want to call them, use it to take it to the school of their choice. That's what I think I'd recommend.
So basically, and do you know how, think about it from this lens, right? Because I always like to break it down from a C student's perspective. What Trump is basically doing and he's been doing this with all of the departments and all of his executive orders, is that he's basically cutting the red tape. That's what you can look at it as. When you see these Democratic politicians and they'll use anything as clickbait to try to scare you, what Trump is basically doing is he's removing the barriers to entry, and he's saying, let's cut the red tape. Let's cut all of the bureaucratic process. Let's also cut all of the department heads and all of this money that we allocating to all of these different people. And we want to give all of the choices back to the individual states. He's giving the power, and we don't need all of this oversight. We don't need all of this bureaucratic nonsense. He's giving all of the power back to the states. It reminds you of when they were campaigning during this election cycle, the Democrats, and they were saying, well, Trump wants to take away your rights to do what you want to do with your body. He wants to control women's bodies. Well, you've seen none of that. You know why you've seen none of that? You know why you've seen no Democrats talk about it, even though it was the number one, number two issue that was on a Democratic ticket in order to try to get Kamala Harris elected, is because it was a non-issue. Because it was already the abolishment of Roe versus Wade was basically allowing for people in the individual states, because your legislators are elected by the people. The people then determine on the ballots what happened in their states, even in conservative states. And he would use Ohio as an example. They voted to allow for abortion to still be legal in Ohio. So what he's basically saying is the federal government has enough on its hands. It has enough on its hands. We don't need to do anything except for distribute the resources to the places that it's supposed to go. In this case, the states, so that they determine what education look like. We are putting this on the back of the legislators and the governors on the states. We don't need the Department of Education continuing to have all of this oversight and all of this bureaucratic nonsense that is basically not freeing up and ruining the education of our students. Now, your state, your education department, the place where you at, will be evaluated and judged, and how they manage the fiscal budget, it will be judged based off of how well they manage it, and it can't fall back up to the federal government. So when you say he's abolishing the Department of Education, he's basically clearing the way for you to actually hold your legislators accountable and also mandate funding so that they are teaching the right things instead of teaching diversity, equity, and inclusion, putting books and putting resources and putting things inside of your schools, inside of your books, so that your teachers are not over-glorified babysitters, but that the states then take responsibility of what's happening with their students and not just rolling that back up to the federal government. I see it as a good thing. I don't see anything wrong with it. And more importantly, I believe that our education system and the education departments up to this point has been abysmal anyway. And you can't just throw money at the problem. You actually have to solve for the solutions. You can't just say, hey, man, we just going to throw money at the problem. That does not solve for it. It does not solve for it. You need to solve for the culture. You have to solve for the funding issues and the problems. And we have to stop allowing for these institutions, especially before college, but especially college also. We cannot allow them to indoctrinate our children. They should be teaching math, science, geography, logic, right? I wouldn't even mind them teaching home ec anymore, right? We need to be teaching real things and giving real skills like other countries that are way ahead of us, instead of spending all of our time teaching our children what to think and how they should hate the federal government and how to allow for themselves to get indoctrinated so that they can then go off to college and get more of the same thing. We can't. I personally believe what's going to happen is people are going to start looking at the states the same way that they look at your individual school districts. When we were coming up, a lot of times it was more ideal for you to get somebody, this was the finesse, you would change your address, or you would go and stay with your uncle, or you would change your address over to a suburban location so that you could then be able to go to the schools that's in that particular area. And so we kind of despise some of the schools that was in the city because the culture was trash. And so you would change your address over to somebody, or to an address from a relative or somebody else that was in a completely different city or a completely different district, so you can get a better education. I believe that people are going to start looking at states the same way. They're going to start looking at states the same way.
Additionally, Lawrence, if I may, you notice in all these discussions we're always talking about the scores in math and reading. One of the ways we do that is through the National Center for Education Statistics, which houses the NAEP, the National Assessment of Educational Progress. That's the place where we have the barometer that measures what our kids are learning. Don't throw that baby out with the bathwater, please.
Yeah, you were talking about those test scores, so let's get into some of that.
Yeah,
69% of fourth graders are below basic level.
I'll tell you that it's a lot of people that's in high school. I think one of the worst things was the No Child Left Behind. No Child Left Behind absolutely destroyed people. And then you had all of these Room 9 kids. Some of y'all may not be familiar with what Room 9 is. Room 9 is the room that's in the middle of the hallway that was the closest to the bathroom, where all of the kids never got a chance to leave the classroom. And some of them had helmets on. The Room 9 kids got mixed up with everybody else, and then now y'all think that all of these people is normal, and these are the ones that y'all getting pregnant by. Room 9 kids can't think for themselves, but they strong. They strong. They got that strong strength. Y'all know that strength. I can't say the word, but you know the strength. Some things we can't say, some things we can, but the Room 9 kids, they all got mixed in. It's a lot of kids, a lot of y'all cannot read past the second and third grade level. Some of y'all are having kids, but you know you can't help them with their homework. Some of y'all are having kids, but you can't even help them with their homework. It says the nation's report cards is that most kids can't meet basic reading standards. You can't even help them with their homework. Hey, Mom, I'm having a geometry problem. Hey, Mom, I'm having an algebra problem. Hey, Mom, I'm having a calculus problem. What is y equals mx plus b? What do you mean? You doing your alphabet? What do you mean y-axis, x-axis? What do you mean? Huh? What? Well, no, listen. It's rise over run, and when you do fractions and you have a whole number, you basically just put a 1 under it. So it's rise over run, okay? Y equals mx plus b, right? You want to make sure that you put the dot on the x-axis. What do you mean solve for y? What? Solve for who? Can't help your children with their homework. Can't even read past the third grade level. Keep telling them to get mad at the teacher because you ain't doing nothing and you can't teach them. Keep on having your girl work and she can't be a stay-at-home mom because y'all shame stay-at-home moms and they can't help them with their homework either. You don't even know what I said, do you? Why mx plus b? I'm so confused. That must be that new math. Yeah, ain't no new math. It's math. That's that new math that they teach them. They got some new kind of math. I ain't never heard of that math before. What's that? That's that new math? No, it's the same math. It's math. What are you talking about, new math? Ain't no new math. That's the new stuff. And let me get I know they got an app for that. Let's just go ahead and solve for it. Answers two. 70%
of eighth graders are below the basic levels of math. 61% of fourth graders are below the basic level, and 78% of eighth graders are below the basic level. I mean, this is a national tragedy. And I don't think it's a funding issue.
No, it's not. It's a national catastrophe. We have to raise our standards. So when you send this money back to the states, or to the people.
I'm a C student, but I ain't crazy. I know what I'm talking about. I know what y'all really dealing with. I told you I'm really paying attention to what's going on in the streets.
Send it to the people. You're not going to have a problem with a Gavin Newsom. Parents are, for the most part, large part, are going to pick the right schools and they're going to up the standards. Look what's happening around the country. Parents are starting these classical academies.
That's right.
Schools that want to teach the right things about character, as well as to love the country and math and reading. And the reading, of course, is critical by the third grade. The scores you cited, Lawrence, it's interesting, are pretty much the same as they were in 1979 before the department was established.
But the
so
fund
we've
has
gone
gone
about,
up.
we've spent all this money, and we're pretty much back where we were in 79. So there's a better way to do it.
There has
The
to be.
states are good, but the states are better, but the people are best.
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, I'm not sitting here on Fox and Friends if my town of Garland, Texas didn't have choice of schools. But you're right, it has to be with the parents, because look at Illinois. They're trying to take the power away from the parents there. It's a fascinating conversation. Bill, thank you so much.
You betcha. Thank you, Lawrence.
Somebody said, a troll, you know, somebody that's always in here problematic or whatever, says, why don't Anton want other black kids to have what he had? What did I have? What exactly did I have? What is it that I don't want y'all to have? I want y'all to be able to read. I want you to be able to do math. I want you to be able to comprehend. I want you to be able to write a paragraph or write a 5-paragraph paper to where you have a thesis or a hypothesis, an educated guess, and then have your 3 supporting sentences, and then do your subsequent paragraphs to support each of those things, and then have a conclusion to where you reinforce or decide whether or not your thesis or your hypothesis was actually proven to be correct. What is it that I don't want you to have? I know you like my attention, so I'm gonna give it to you. What is it that I don't want you to have? I go to the schools and I speak to the kids. I'm in the schools. I do free speeches, and I go and work with the children. Look at this retard. You went to private school and your dad got you a job. No, I went to private school in middle school as a result of going to, and see, you need to listen because I tell these stories all the time. I went to public schools, Detroit public schools, Hampton Elementary, up until 6th grade. I was starting to get into gangs and stuff. And so instead of my father buying a new car, what he did was he got a second job and he sent me and my brother to UAD Jesuit. All right. Paid tuition for 2 years. And then I wound up going to Cass Technical High School, which is a Detroit public school. My dad never got me a job. My brother got me a job after high school. Okay. So listen. I don't want you to be dumb. I don't want you to be stupid. I want your kids to not be crazy. Shut up and listen. You got 2 ears and a mouth for a reason. You can't have what I have because you have a broken household. You can't have what I have because your father left your mother because your daddy was a Rolling Stone and your mother was a prostitute. That's why you can't have what I have. You don't get the privilege because your parents are supposed to do what they're supposed to do and make the sacrifices. You can't have what I have because your family is stupid. And instead of you holding your family accountable, you want to come on here and you want to talk to me as though I owe you something. I don't owe you nothing but an ass whooping. I owe you a truth. The truth is that you need to go and talk to your ancestors because they was trash. I guarantee you that your father, your mother didn't even tell you who your real father is. You don't even know what your lineage is. You can't have what I have because the thing that I tell y'all to do, and not to break up your households, not to be broken, not to lay down, not to carry before you marry and all of this stuff, you fight against it because you're an idiot. You're dumb. You dumb. Your parents is dumb. Everything about y'all is dumb. And at some point, you going to have to come to the conclusion, I don't want to be dumb no more. Stop looking to me to be your daddy. I'm not your father. Stupid. You dumb. And your mama dumb. And just because she old don't mean she going to heaven. She was a hoe. She was a whore. And she gonna bust hell wide open. She busted open for a real one. She was out here getting used and abused. She was giving up that box to everybody in the neighborhood. Go find your daddy. Keep asking me why you can't. Because my dad was a good dad. That's not privilege. That's called doing the thing that you're supposed to do. You're supposed to have a job. You're supposed to raise your kids. You're supposed to be a tax-paying citizen. You're supposed to make sure that you do the thing you're supposed to do for your children and for your wife. It's not abnormal. It's not privilege. You just got PTSD because you grew up as a crack baby. Crack baby. Crackhead, crack baby. You're missing something up here. Shouldn't have never been born. Your mama should have swallowed you. Crack baby.
But we start this morning with President Trump, who's expected to sign an executive order this afternoon designed to be first steps in dismantling
That's why your name
the
is in all caps, because you don't know how to read lowercase. You're a crack baby. I know you're a crack baby because anybody that put their name in all caps is a crack baby. Because they got to look at their name like this.
Department of Education. He has signaled this move for weeks, but would still need congressional approval to fully shutter this government agency. So I want to bring in CBS News White House reporter Willie James Inman. He's joining me now from the White House to talk about this. Willie James, the White House. Questions over the president's authority to do this. What are we learning?
Hey there, Vlad. Good to be with you. Well, the White House says that this is about returning the power for education to the states. Now, it's unclear how the different types of funding that the Department of Education takes in.
Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight. I don't want to crack on you. I don't want to spend the next 20 minutes going off on you and your lineage. Leave me alone. Leave me alone.
Once it's dismantled, but as you pointed out perfectly, the president would need Congress's support to be able to essentially end the Department of Education. This is something that the White House has telegraphed for weeks, as you mentioned as well, but this is the beginning stages, this executive authority to dismantle the Department of Education. Unclear if it will include job cuts as well. Remember, that is something that has already happened with half of the workforce at the Department of Education.
skip all of this. Let's go to the next story. Let's get off of this. Department of Education being dismantled this morning. I'll continue to keep you guys updated. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. If you're not a part of the Patreon, make sure you tune into the Patreon, man, so we can give you this game so that you're not out here looking stupid. Let me read some of these super chats. I don't know what's wrong with me today. Having a squabble at 60 will be crazy. Facts. Abe the Hunter. What up, Abe? Abe says, yes, Big U is guilty of this and other crimes, but what's the difference between goodwill business structure and his? Everybody need to go to jail that's doing it. Jamsey says, get the DOE out of here. The Department of Education, it's a failure, and them young ones out here stuck between can't read and 5th grade level. Rondell Clark is in the building, says Grand Rising, Anton. What up, though? What up, Grand Rising, big dog? Dondrell says, some of this info goes over my head. I just tapped in. Does this mean in time they will take away public schooling in America? No, it doesn't mean that. Manuel AG says, Anton, you were a C student. I was an E student. How did you graduate, bro? Jay Hunter Lee says, they don't even teach cursive writing anymore. Ain't that crazy? We had drafting classes, too. Real talk respect. Shout out to Big Rock. I appreciate you. Danny Shade says, when my son got to middle school, they didn't have books because the school district couldn't account for $20,000 missing from the budget. What? I packed up and moved to a district that was flourishing. Smart. Good for you. Let me give you that. David Simpson Jr. says, Unc Anton, FAFO Daniels is still alive. God bless America. F around and find out. Dang, time dog, let him breathe, Chiefs. You got me dying over here. Mid-show prayer is needed, Brody. Lord bless me to get myself back together in Jesus' name for the rest of this show. That's right, AD, hold this dusty mom accountable. Man, listen, leave me alone. Y'all better leave me alone today. Let me do my show. Let me see what else, just in case. I don't want to forget nobody. I don't want to be a player no more. Shout out to Rand Wilson. I appreciate you, big dog, and everybody that support the platform. Make sure you hit up. Let me go blue. Maybe we can go blue. Blue, light blue. Let's go blue. We're going to change the mood. Orange didn't work. Red didn't work. We going blue. Blue is in the building, all right? Y'all ready to get it started? Y'all got yourselves together? Oosa. All right. What we got going on next? All right. So this is something that I shouldn't get mad at. Trump released the JFK files, and let's see what's in it. I have not reviewed this yet, so I don't know, but this is what's being said about the JFK files.
Welcome back. I'm Austin Westfall. Well, today was the day. Thousands of pages of previously unseen files related to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy were released today. Right now, over 1,100 documents totaling roughly 80,000 pages are visible on the National Archives website. This comes after President Trump's push to release the files, and standing by is a man who knows the history of the assassination well, presidential historian and author James Robinault. What have we learned today, James?
Well, Austin, we learned a lot about the CIA. Most of these documents are CIA-type documents. From their plan to try to assassinate Castro, Operation Mongoose is what it was called. Lots of detail on that, involving mafia figures to help them. It's an incredible story. To Jack Ruby and Oswald being seen in a nightclub, according to a CIA memo, weeks before the assassination, to all sorts of discredit on the single bullet theory that the ballistics people thought, that this just didn't happen back when the Warren Report came out, to the CIA operation out of Mexico City and all the intelligence they were gathering on Oswald. So it is a truckload of information. It's going to take weeks to analyze. There are 100-page depositions in it. It truly is a real trove of information that begins to paint a much stronger picture that the CIA knew kind of what was coming and may have been involved in the group out of Miami that was the anti-Castro group that may have been setting up Oswald. So a ton of stuff.
So let me break this down from a C student's perspective. The same group that brought drugs and crack and cocaine and trafficked it here into the United States of America to ensure that it flooded our communities and decimated communities across the United States of America, especially urban communities. The same group that then arrested the people that they used to traffic these drugs inside of the United States of America is also involved in the assistance to the assassination of JFK. Got it. Got it. Thank you, Trump. Thank you, Trump. My interpretation of this conversation is the federal government via the CIA, who was probably one of the most demonic. They want to keep these government institutions open and just run business as usual. The same government agency that brought drugs and crack cocaine inside of the United States of America is the one that helped assist the assassination of JFK. Maybe it's a possibility. Who knows? Federal government may have played a role in the attempted assassination of Trump. Maybe that's why Trump decided that he wanted to release the JFK files. Maybe RFK Jr. wanted to get these files released. I don't know. But basically what this says is that we need to figure out whether we even need these organizations because they've done more harm to the American people than good. That's my interpretation of it.
Does this change the official narrative?
I think it will. I mean, I think what we're going to end, as I've said before, this is like a big jigsaw puzzle. And we have a lot of pieces in place. What we didn't know were some of the identities of some of these people and the CIA documents. Everybody's got a code name. So that's going to take a long while for people to unravel. But I think it's going to show that they were very active with the group that was entangled with Oswald in New Orleans in the summer of 1963. And the evidence is starting to look more and more like they were setting up Oswald and that the anti-Castro.
Somebody said, what do drug lords have to do with the president? That's like asking, what do gun runners have to do with the president? What do you mean? What do drug lords have to do with the president? Drug lords, trafficking, drug lords, all of these people, gun runners, historically, in my opinion, I believe that the most vile things directly ties back to some of the people that are making the decisions and deciding what laws are being put in place in America. Historically, man, if you don't think that, listen. forget JFK and them. We can just go back over the last 4 years. Over the last 4 years, family, we had a migrant crisis that nobody, and I mean absolutely nobody, in the United States of America asked for. I felt so bad for Democrats because y'all had to scramble around the issue and act like it never happened. But it was right there in front of our face. You couldn't fly into Chicago without seeing migrants sleeping on the airport floor. You couldn't fly into Boston without seeing migrants sleeping on the airport floor. Dog, if you don't think that that is directly tied, and this is just my theory, this is my assumption, I cannot prove it, obviously, but if you don't believe that that is directly tied all the way up to the top, you are crazy. You are crazy. Man, I would never want to be a president because the type of stuff that you probably know as a result of it is insane. 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 You're telling me that we don't have the ability and the capability? Bruh, we got every single known technology. We know where all of the new codes are. We know alien technology. You telling me we can't stop the flow of fentanyl across the border? You telling me we can't stop the influx of migrants across the border? You telling me that we didn't know where the 300,000 children were during the Biden administration? Seriously?
Group or the people who might have pulled the triggers. So I think there's a lot here to work with, a lot to analyze. And as you know, because of Paul Landis's revelation that he found the bullet in the limousine that you and I have talked about so much, that tends to prove there was an ambush, that there were multiple shooters. This will then start to give us a better idea of who might have been involved.
Yeah, so let's back up on that. So for people that are watching that haven't watched our interviews,
that's why don't nobody want them audited in the
why
federal
do you
government.
feel it is appropriate to question the actual story, and you know what? I will say this too, by the way. The official version of the story is that Oswald was the lone gunman. So why do you feel like it's fair to question that theory?
Yeah, I think that the main thing is that when Paul Landis found the pristine bullet behind where Kennedy had been sitting and Jackie had been sitting, it showed that that bullet had only gone superficially into his back and that it fell back out. That means that the bullet didn't go through him into Conley, which is the official version. And, you know, one bullet caused all this damage, which nobody ever believed. The problem is Kennedy gets hit, and within a split second, you can see that Conley gets hit. So there's not enough time for Oswald, who has a bold action, to shoot about 3 seconds, load and shoot again to hit Conley. So there had to be multiple shooters. And once we know that, we know that there's a conspiracy. Once we know there's a conspiracy, then the question is who was involved in it. But that evidence is pretty strong that there were multiple shooters.
And we haven't had a president to release the files until Trump got in office. Ain't that something?
You have seen of the documents. Are there redactions?
No, I haven't yet seen any, and I've seen people write who've been through a lot more than I have that they haven't seen them yet. I think they really did take off the redactions. And again, you know, this is going to help put together these pieces of the puzzle because you have these various people who are identified in Miami. You have the people identified in Mexico City. And now you're starting to put all this stuff together to see what the puzzle looks like once you put those pieces in.
So I got to ask, this is something that you and I have talked about ad nauseum. I mean, the assassination happened in the 60s. Here we are in the 2020s now talking about this. Why did it take so long for these documents to be released?
That's the question. Why did it take so long?
I think the answer to that is that when the Warren report came out, President Johnson and Hoover in particular were very much trying to end the controversy and not spark World War III. They were worried that this was going to be blamed on the Cubans. They were worried it was going to be blamed on the Russians, and they were not willing to risk nuclear war over all of this. So they very much pushed the Warren Commission to get it done, blame it on one person. And at that point, the Warren Commission came out with a report that started to fall apart almost right away, but a lot of people still hung on to it. And the only reason that it's taken all these years is that the CIA convinced president after president that there were still people alive, there were still operations that they needed to protect. And it's only really in the last year that we finally have somebody saying, well, enough of that. Let's see all of it. It cannot be that we are going to destroy people or operations 60 years later. But it's going to be embarrassing, which it is, to the CIA.
So basically, we need to possibly dismantle the CIA, and we need to revamp all of these different government agencies to not be operating not in the best interest of American people. I think that the federal government for a long time has been super corrupt, and we finally got somebody in there to drain the swamp and just release the files and don't even have an opinion on it. He just released the files so that everybody else can draw their own conclusions as a result of it. Shout out to Trump, man. Shout out to Trump. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's see what we got here. Read a couple of super chats and then we'll move over to the next part of the show. Brick Squad G937 says, ain't no squabbling at 60, more like wobbling and squabbling. Have y'all ever seen them races where them old guys, they be getting in a race at Thanksgiving dinner and stuff like that? Man, I'm not doing that with y'all. Tyrone Dub says, listening to AD cook these Room 9 people is the highlight of my day. They need that raw uncut. You good, bro. Sometimes you get tired of suffering the opinions of the slow. And we let everybody in with an echo chamber, but sometimes we got to address the elephant in the room. Good day, Anton and chat. I'm new here. Appreciate the topics and the conversation. What up, Tappy and Podcast? I'm glad that you love what we got going on over here. I would encourage anybody that loves what we got going on here to make sure you subscribe. If you have not rocked out already and you're looking to rock out with a group of people that's going in the direction that you're going in, with all of the information, all of the stock club tips, all of the block club tips, and the meetup information, I will be dropping and announcing new meetup information soon inside of the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Shell Shock says JFK was about to expose the CIA and their corruptions. Check out Carl Higbee. He breaks it down in a reel, which I posted earlier today. MLK's next. Yeah, I want to see them MLK files. I need to see the MLK files. I want to see, you know why the women want the MLK files, because they can't wait to say, he was out here in these streets cheating on this girl. That's why the women want the MLK files. Anyways, let's pivot for a second. The FBI now is involved. So for all of you paid actors or protesters that have been out here, if I'm doing something that I'm not supposed to do, I don't want nobody to know about it. If you're selling drugs in the community, then you usually are less visible. And that's what Frank Lucas taught us, right? And an American Gangster. If you got felonies on your record or you are an illegal migrant inside of the United States of America, chances are, you know what? I kind of want to lay low. I don't want to be out here protesting. And for a lot of people, they're out here spray painting buildings, setting fire to stuff and all of that. And I think that they need to be treated like the criminals that they are, and they need to be held accountable to the highest extent of the law. Here's a summary of the FBI investigations underway. And we want to get Kevin O'Leary's take on this, because I thought that he had an interesting take about what's going on.
The recent string of arson attacks targeting Tesla vehicles. Federal agents are investigating. Attorney General Pam Bondi called them nothing short of domestic terrorism. Chief Investigative Correspondent Aaron Katursky is here with the story. Good morning, Aaron.
Good morning, George. Domestic terrorism and Pam Bondi, the Attorney General's calling for severe consequences. Molotov cocktails were thrown at Tesla lots in Las Vegas. Several vehicles went up in flames. The same suspect shot more Teslas with a gun, spray painted the word resist on the building. Tesla Cybertrucks were set on fire in Kansas City, and earlier this month, shots fired at a Tesla dealership in Oregon. Teslas spray painted near Boston, Cybertrucks on fire in Seattle. These crimes against the company owned by Elon Musk are increasing as Musk...
Gotta be white people cars. Gotta be white people cars. I'm telling you, it has to be. By all means, it has to be white people cars. Nowhere in the world that you're telling me that you are out here doing anything to somebody else's vehicle without finding out the hard way. Because, see, maybe it's just at the dealerships. And I know that the cars got cameras on them and all of this stuff. And, of course, these people are going to get caught. So that goes without saying. But it got to be white people cars, because as soon as I see you walking by with my car on Century mode, come out, here comes a Century gun. Soon as I see you walking past my car with Century mode on and they give me that alert, and you on my property, and I feel threatened, it's got to be. It has to be. Kevin O'Leary had an interesting take of the people that are against Elon Musk and deciding that they want to burn up Teslas and stuff like this. But before we get to Kevin O'Leary, I don't understand why y'all can't keep y'all hands to yourself. These are Democrats that own these cars. These are Republicans that own these cars. The insurance company is going to pay it off, and then I'm just going to go and get another one. Why haven't you kept your hands to yourself?
What a juxtaposition from an amazing engineer, a heroic rescue feat yesterday, and then the folks in this country, I guess egged on by one of our governors, who want to destroy the property of the guy who made that rocket go up and come back down.
First of all, like most people that are watching both sides of this, I would like to see the law upheld. Arson is a crime. You should go to jail for that. There's cameras all over those lots. The cars themselves have cameras that record what happens around them. And I think they should be persecuted relentlessly for what they're doing, because loss of property is one of the laws we support in our democracy. It doesn't matter what party you're on. And I thought, most people would look at that and say, I'm not okay with it. Democrats own these cars, Republicans own these cars. These are criminals. They should go to jail, number one. Is he a hero? Well, apparently the government couldn't get them back with all the money they gave Boeing. My tax dollars went to Boeing. I didn't want to do that. They failed at the mission, and a private company happens to be founded by Elon Musk was successful. That's a fact, too. I think we should keep going with Elon because he actually has executional skills while others don't. And if I were the CEO of Boeing, I would put my head in shame today, because I could not deliver, and my bird is still on the ground, and his bird is flying back and forth. Also,
Elon Musk should be hailed as a national hero. He literally got back astronauts that Biden left in space. Boeing failed to be able to deploy a rocket to get them back down from space, and Elon Musk did it within 2 months. Within 2 months of Trump being in office, he got those astronauts that's back down in space. And so we give him no credit from that. We give him no credit for that. I believe personally that a lot of these people that are doing this stuff, I think that they're paid to do it. I think that there's paid people that are paid to create protests and incite riots, that start strong, whatever debates and all of that stuff. I don't know. Y'all might just be in the wrong cities because they don't play that junk here.
I think everybody should just get over it and realize what's really going on here. This guy is an American hero. He's an incredible entrepreneur, great executional skills, and everybody burns his cars. I'd like to see them in prison as terrorists.
Well, let me go to you on that, because I think the domestic terrorism question is obviously been open. Attorney General Pam Bondi said this is domestic terrorism. We're going to go after them for that. Does that make sense to you?
Absolutely.
Last thing I need is the government on my butt.
And I'll defer to Jackie, but there are a number of different statutes that they can use. They can treat this as domestic terrorism, but I would also like to see the FBI and Justice Department track where the money is coming from to fund these attacks. And
hit them with the RICO.
Coordinated in any way and funded from one or two large sources, you are potentially looking at RICO charges. So under racketeering, the racketeering statutes, and I know arson is under one of those. And when you look at federal charges, they are incredibly severe. And when you get sentenced to federal prison, you go away and you serve virtually the entire sentence. There is little leniency and there is no parole. In essence, you serve the whole sentence.
I agree. I believe that we need to find out where all of the money and the funding is coming from, because you're not going to convince me that these people are taking off of work every day. The whole group of them, all of them are taking off of work every day. and people are willing to risk their freedom so that they can go to jail with all of the technology and the tracking and the triangulation of exactly where your phone is pinging from every day, nobody got a job. Everybody out protesting. Everybody is saying that Elon Musk is, come on, man, where the money at? Where the money at? This is a Millionaire Morning Show. We always need to know where the money is coming from. We can sit here and talk about all of the great things that Elon Musk did, but I want to know, where's the funding coming from? Who is it coming from? And why are we not doing a deeper dive into that? I don't want just the people, the bad actors arrested. I want the people that are incentivizing the bad actors to do this thing to also be arrested and face RICO charges.
But the idea that these, I always say, dangerous morons will moron dangerously, and look no further than Tim Walz. But the idea that these people are celebrating the attacks on the stock market valuation decline, one of America's greatest companies, it really exemplifies what they're about. They're not.
You know, I heard Kevin O'Leary say something that was pretty interesting and profound. Tim Walz is running around doing town halls. And one of the things he said is, man, I'm so glad that Tesla stock is down. Man, I'm so glad that this is happening. Man, I'm so glad that Tesla stock is down and blah, blah, blah. You do know that a lot of y'all retirement funds and your 401ks they have Tesla in the portfolio, right? Your success and your retirement and your pension and your 401k, Tesla was a part of the Magnificent Seven. If you don't know what the Magnificent Seven is, it's nothing for us to talk about. You do know that your retirement is interdependent on the success of some of these companies that you're very much rooting for. Y'all can't be this dense. You can't be this dumb. You can't be this dumb. You know, I see people rooting for the stock market to fall, which is fine with me because that's how I'm going to get really, really, really rich. See, that's how I'm going to get rich. Forget the contracts, forget the earning. Man, listen, I'm all in. I'm all in every single month. When I do my budget, the first thing that I'm doing is I'm deploying every single resource into buying more shares of the companies that we research inside of Stock Club on a Patreon. I am all in. You do know that that's the thing that's gonna put me over the 100 million mark, right? That's the thing that's gonna have me stunting over there in Monaco. You gonna suffer. We gonna get. Y'all know that rich people don't lose, right? Let me tell you something, bro. Let me tell you something. This is a little secret. It's an open secret amongst people that know. Rich people never lose. Never. Never, ever. Never lose. The middle, when we see them say tax the rich, when we see them say raise taxes, when we see them say, oh man, I'm so happy that the valuation, you know that we make money going down and going up, right? You know that we make money going down and going up, right? The only people that suffer is you. We'll get there. We'll get there. Don't worry about it.
About ideology, because Tesla has done more to further the goal of fighting climate change than any company. It is about just a bunch of craven ciphers who worship at the altar of self and accumulation of power. And I'd just like, and I'm teeing up Jackie, I'd like somebody to ask Mark Kelly, a veteran and former astronaut, if you were you sold your Tesla and made the break, I bought this giant Chevy. If you were stuck up there, would you turn down a ride on SpaceX? Just curious about that. you bloviate in full?
It's a great question, and I love the soundbite that we bumped in on, the Hannity soundbite with Elon Musk, where Elon says, we had the capability to go up and rescue these people way sooner. We offered that to the previous administration, and they said no. To me, that means not only was this political activism on their part, but those people became political pawns. They became political prisoners in space, which is absolutely mind-boggling. Now, there is a corollary theory to this, and Mark Kelly's brother, Scott, who is also a retired astronaut, was on with Brett last night. This is what the left is saying to counter what Elon Musk is saying, that we could have gone up there to get them sooner.
They have had a spacecraft up there since September that was going to bring them home. They've always had a ride home, and the decision to keep them up there had nothing to do with politics. It was just the fact that you need crew members to operate the space station, and they were the two that were there, and you had to send up a vehicle with 2 empty seats. So the safest thing to do was to just leave them there.
Okay, so I just want to get this straight. They always had a ride home, but you needed more crew members to operate the space station, so they couldn't come home. And also, they were the only two there, so you had to send up another vehicle with 2 empty seats. So they didn't have a ride home, and that's why they didn't come home. And had Elon sent his spaceship a little sooner, they would have been here. These people are going to have an impact as a result of this, physically, probably for the rest of their lives.
Imagine having a disability because our federal government was so incompetent under the Biden administration that they didn't have a plan to be able to get you home, and they were dependent on Boeing, who largely have been embroiled in scandal and paying for people to die, allegedly, on top of the fact that they've had problems with their own planes staying in the sky, and they are criticizing Elon Musk, and they have something to say about Elon Musk. Imagine being stuck in the sky, in space for months and months and months, and not knowing when you're going to come home, and being dependent on a billionaire, a genius billionaire, to be able to get you down.
Fact that, we're playing politics with people's lives, or we're playing politics with companies and allowing laws to be, just completely ignored about destruction of property and the terrorism and all that it's wild. But that's what the left does when the narrative doesn't work for them.
Well, Taylor, Dagan said something that caught my attention. It's actually, with these folks, it's not even about ideology. It's not like there are ideas that are motivating the people on the left who are burning down Tesla stuff and Musk stuff, or maybe even the folks involved in the decision about when the astronauts come home. It's sort of worse than that. It's like a hatred. It's a visceral, emotional reaction against. And I come to you on this because you're the person who gives me the other side of that, which is the emotional, visceral, love of the heroism that's happening in this moment.
So this is what I can't figure out. The left used to be peaceful, and now they're advocating for violent protests. This was the party that used to want to avoid war, and now they're advocating burning things down because my toddler does that. Threatens to burn things down when she doesn't get her way. Except that we're 30, 40, 50-year-olds and not 2-year-olds.
It's pretty advanced for a toddler to
You know what I mean, right? Not threatening to burn things down, but making threats in general. To celebrate the decline of a stock price, I think the left 20 years ago was pro-capitalism. I would never root for the price of a stock to decline unless the fundamentals tell you that it should go down. You don't do it because you happen to not like the CEO. Okay. I will not get emotional, but there is nothing more emotional than when that capsule hits splashdown and you hear those words from everyone at SpaceX, not Boeing, not NASA, not the U.S. government, from everyone at SpaceX, welcome home. That should be the global unifying message of all of this, that he managed to do something that no one else right now can do. Jeff Bezos is a little far behind, but he's not there. Virgin Galactic's a little far behind, but he's not there. So Elon Musk is the only one who can do it. And I love this story. I love the splashdown. I think it's an incredible moment for innovators and dreamers all over the world.
There were some dolphins to welcome them?
There were dolphins welcoming home. I think the control room looks exactly like the control room of our producers. You see him back there with all over the computers. It's incredible.
Can I just make one comment also? This isn't the first time we've heard an emotional welcome home like that. This is one example of it, but I believe it was when Rick Grinnell went down to get the captives in Venezuela, where he said, I'm a diplomat, I'm paraphrasing, and I'm here to take you home.
Yes.
We're seeing this happen in so many different instances.
Well, it's a great public-private collaboration that we should be celebrating. This Elon burn the car stuff, this is a direct derivative of Doge, which does not stop. I mean, he's agnostic to all this criticism because he keeps publishing all the waste every day, and people are freaking out about it. While they shouldn't be, it's their tax dollars being spent in nefarious ways in some cases and wasteful in other. It's really hard to understand the psyche here and how this got politicized.
I don't understand how it got politicized also, but again, welcome home to all of the astronauts. I hope they are not permanently messed up as a result of being left up in space. Again, I think that Elon Musk will go down in history also as one of the most prolific and patriotic people to the American people, even though he was not born in the United States of America. And things are absolutely, positively. I am excited. It is a positive time in our lives, and I am excited about everything that's going on. Can we give Elon Musk a round of applause? Do I need to order another Tesla? I might have to order a Tesla. I don't know. Anyways, make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Before we get into this whole segregation conversation, I would like to first read some of the super chats, and then I want to go into some of these GOP governors, politicians, legislators, Congress members, Republicans that are being yelled at these town halls. I want to explore that a little bit. CIA and Israel is involved hands down. Why y'all think the Epstein files hasn't been released yet and they want to redact everything? Shout out to Ivy League. Chris Cunningham says it took long because you can't prosecute a dead person or hold them accountable. They waited 60 years on purpose. Cuddy in the building. Cuddy says there's a website about who has a Tesla. Be careful, bro. It's called Dogequest. I don't care nothing about that. Not even at a little bit. That's why A, I pay for insurance, and B, why I got a pistol. Vandalism on vehicles and the security. Vandalism on vehicles that have 9 cameras, Sentry mode is a sign of low IQ, and you going to jail. How is the 10K Tesla stock doing? I think it's down like $100 or something like that. It's down like $100. Shout out to 392Q. Chris Cunningham says Elon said Tesla will go up 1,000% in the next 5 years. I know it will, but I don't want to talk about it because when you're talking about the Tesla bots that are coming, when you're talking about the new cars that are coming, when you're talking about autonomous driving, Tesla is not a vehicle company. Tesla is a technology company, but we gonna get there. I don't want to talk about it today. That is going to be one of my main things that I break down and go over inside of Stock Club and what my prediction is going to be. Make sure y'all tap into the page, Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. 5th channel idea, U2K and rental spoons. Rental spoons? What is a rental spoon? Tony Stark had to save the day again. Shout out to you. I appreciate you. DP says, exactly. I root for the market tanking, but I do feel for those retired that's withdrawing. I never wish for a crash. It's my time to shine. You make your profit when you enter the markets, not when you withdraw. See, now you get it. Now you get it. Shout out to DP. David Simpson Jr. says X just got evaluated at $44 billion. For those that don't know, he paid that much when he bought it. I wouldn't bet against Elon. I would never bet against Tony Stark. Mark says the dumb thing in attacking Tesla to hurt Musk is if Musk has an IPO for SpaceX, Neuralink, and XAI, he becomes the world's first trillionaire. He already is. Danny Shade says Tim Walz advocating for Tesla stock to plummet when Minnesota funds their pension fund with 1.6 million shares of Tesla. Right. That's exactly what I'm saying. Anyways, before we get into this whole segregation conversation, I first want to explore all of these people saying evict, eject, reject, impeach. And voters basically confronting all of these Republicans at these town halls. So let's explore that a little bit. Again, make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's look at a couple different videos and let's look at it for what it is.
President Trump's self-described mandate is facing brutal reality checks across the country. Republican Nebraska Congressman Mike Flood is the latest to take it on the chin while holding down a town hall in a county that voted for Trump nearly 3-1.
We have the Department of Government Efficiency that is looking at and has some How can you be against a balanced budget?
Now, this is MSNBC, so I like to source material from all different walks of life and all different platforms, including Fox News, MSNBC, CNN, CBS, ABC, and the likes, right? Personal people. Let me ask y'all a question, because again, Democrats will paint this picture and they will say, well, look at these Republican-led states and Republican-led districts and Republican-led cities. Look, they're going into their cities and all of the Republicans are turning against them. How many Republicans do you know that say tax the rich? Come on, y'all. All we got to do is use our context clues. It's so easy. It's so easy to see through. How many Republicans actually will yell the mantra, tax the rich, tax the rich? These are not Republicans. These are not conservatives at all. None of them in there are conservatives. These are all Democrat-led town hall and places where the majority of the people in there, and I mean like the 98th percentile of the people in there, are all raging liberals. Republicans don't chant that. They don't have that mindset. They don't believe in the things that these people are chanting right now. These are all paid people, plants, organized, or liberals within that district that feel some type of way, that feel compelled and empowered to then show up at these meetings. Republicans are not there. There are no conservatives at that town hall except for the person that is speaking. But they will paint the picture and make it seem like that, oh my God, Republicans are afraid to do town halls and all of that. This is a desperate, and when I say desperate, this is a desperate, a Hail Mary attempt at trying to disrupt the status quo, because the polling shows amongst independents, Democrats, and Republicans that Democrats, their support is plummeting. It is at an all-time low. It has never been lower in our lifetime. Never been lower at our lifetime at all. All of these people, every last one of them, are liberals.
He's not the only one. Wyoming's only House member, Harriet Hagman, faced tough questions from her constituents about the scope and pace of Trump's overhauls. Meanwhile, Democratic lawmakers like Maryland Congressman Glenn Ivey are taking heat from their constituents.
We are not interested in hearing that you are in the minority. We know that. We want you to show some of the backbone and strategic brilliance that Mitch McConnell would have in this.
You think that that's a conservative? Do you think that that person right there, come on, y'all, all of the people that's grabbing the headlines, all of the people that MSNBC is showing, so I like to show it from both sides. And if you think that these are conservatives that are up there in the stands yelling about this, yelling and saying the things that they are saying and being disruptive, if you think that that is conservative, let me know inside of the chat. Let me know inside of the chat that you think that that's a conservative.
I'm I'm going to answer his question. I'm going to answer his question. I'm going to answer his question.
People are just a wee bit ticked off. Joining me now.
So let me pivot for a second. I want to show y'all another lawmaker at a town hall in Washington. Now, we also know that Washington, what is Washington? Washington is one of the most liberal places inside of the country. Ironically enough, Washington is one of the most liberal places inside of the country. Trust me, we don't just look at Fox News. We want to show MSNBC. We want to show CNN's coverage of it. This is CNN's coverage of it. This is exactly what happened at this town hall.
I've been in Spokane for 39 years from New Jersey. I've never been involved in politics before, but this is getting really scary. Okay, so the things that frighten me is the way this insane president talks about Canada as a
insane president. Now you tell me, what conservative, what Republican would say this insane president? Fam, if y'all don't think that these people are paid actors, if y'all don't think that these people are raging liberals, if you don't think that this coverage that is being basically leveraged to try to throw a Hail Mary and convince y'all that, oh my God, GOP lawmakers are under fire, they're trying to get them out of there. If y'all don't think that this is the craziest attempt to try to sway y'all to think something in particular, then you are absolutely insane.
51st state. Taking Panama by force and buying Greenland. How does this person qualify as sane? Why is he not being impeached right now?
He laughing. He ain't even tripping off of him. He just already know what it is. Look at the people in the audience. You telling me that's a conservative? These traitors that's in the audience, you're telling me that they're conservative. You came with a Canadian flag. Ain't no way on God's green earth. First of all, we know that Canada is incredibly liberal. That's the one thing that I'm trying to figure out with Trump. That's how I know Trump is trolling. Because he's smart. I know that he got people around him that knows what's going on. I know that Trump is trolling. I also know that Trump has no interest, and this is just my personal beliefs, I could be wrong. I know that Trump has zero interest in making Canada a 51st state. All liberals. All liberals.
So, in short, I don't support us absorbing Canada. Canada, that would be like taking. Canada's been a good neighbor. Canada is much more liberal and left wing than the United States. If we took Canada.
Why would they applaud that? Why would they applaud that?
Taking Canada would be like taking another California. It would tilt things towards the Democrats. Yeah. If we took Canada, the Republicans would never have control again. So we don't want that to happen.
All liberals. That's how I know Trump is trolling Canada. He's trolling because why would we want Canada as the 51st state with how liberal they are? They elected Justin Trudeau. We'd be sitting under a Kamala Harris regime right now. I might be censored. We'd be sitting under a Kamala Harris regime right now, and I might be censored. Nobody in these audiences are Republican. Do not, under any circumstances, let them trick you into thinking that, oh my God, all of these Republicans, they are under fire, and it is going to be a problem because all of their constituents and the people that voted for Republicans, they are mad and they're going to come for you, and this is what they're showing up. We don't carry Canadian flags. The only thing that we may care for that's Canadian is bacon and Drake. And sometimes we like y'all hockey. But other than that, that's the only thing we like Canadian. Real talk. That's the only thing that we tripping about. And don't get me wrong, I like my Canadians. I've invested in some of y'all businesses that are in the Patreon that are Canadian. But let's be clear. Y'all are incredibly liberal, and we don't want that as a voting bloc inside of the United States of America. So I know that Trump is trolling y'all. Anyways, neither here nor there. Let me get into this segregation conversation. Before I do that, let me read a couple of super chats, and then I'll get into the segregation. This is what y'all want me to talk about, right? Y'all want me to talk about segregation? I'll talk about segregation. It's the perfect day to talk about segregation. It's crash out season, right? Shout out to Elon, our African-American innovator. Shout out to Frank. I appreciate you. Damian Brown says, who would you say is worth more between Elon Musk and John D. Rockefeller in this day? I don't know too much about John D. Rockefeller's actual net worth. Some people estimate it to be different all over the place. I have no clue whatsoever. I couldn't even begin because you'd have to adjust for inflation and you know what the American dollar is worth. Maybe Rockefeller, I don't know. Eric Wealth Harris says they think we stupid. We ain't dumb. We know what's going on. Corey says your energy is different for Big U than it is for Diddy. You don't sound objective. You pick and choose like the rest of us. Hypocritical behavior. Well, let me address that. You know me, I don't dodge no smoke. And thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you. Big U has been on record and on file talking about different things with regard to gang culture. The dude's actually gone Adam 22. He got a whole interview. I don't have to accuse of anything. When you say, first of all, that you are the leader of Crips, then that tells me right there alone. That alone tells me, let me give me a second. Let me do a little bit of a deep dive for you. Give me a second. You know, dude be on no jumper. He talk about his affiliations. He talk about what it is that he's into. He deep dives into all of these different things, and you want me to give him the benefit of the doubt. Why should I give anybody the benefit of the doubt when they don't give themselves the benefit of the doubt? Oh, I can't play it. Anyways, y'all can go on YouTube and check it out for yourself. He goes on. No, let me see if I can get it up. I might still be able to get it up. He goes on No Jumper, and he talks about gangs in LA, all of this other type of stuff. He's on Clubhouse. He goes back and forth for Whack 100. Whack 100 is telling all of these people, including recently Aaron the Plumber, that they need to pull up or they need to handle their business and all of that. Man, stop, bro. Listen. Anybody defending gang members that have snitched on themselves, which is probably one of the reasons that they find themselves in the situation that they're in right now. Look, even aside from the charges that he's facing, because I do believe in innocent until proven guilty, I still don't approve of or support gang culture. I don't approve of or support gang culture at all. I think that it's one of the most toxic things in our culture and in our society. He got a Breakfast Club interview too. I don't support that. I don't support gang culture at all. Not even a little bit. And so, aside from the things that they're accusing him of, I think that being a leader of a gang that ultimately is worse for our communities, and the fact that you're trying to defend a gang member is crazy to me. It's crazy to me. But, you know, people have the freedom to do what they want to do because they are fans. They fans of whoever it is that they fans of. Dizzy Husband, and thank you for the super chat. Dizzy Husband says, I'm here to shame all of the detractors in the chat. Shame. The short bus must take y'all to work. May God heal your broken hearts. Executive Suite MLE says that's a room full of old liberals. It's all smoke and mirrors. A room full of conservatives with liberal talking points. What a joke. F out of here. Definitely no SMD on the Millionaire Morning Show. With Canada as the 51st state. I'm going to go and visit Canada. I might go to Canada this week. I don't know what the weather is like over there. Let me see what's happening with Canada. Make sure y'all hit a like on the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's talk about segregation. All right, I'm going to play this clip from somebody because it's all the rage and all of the things, and I know that so many people put so much misinformation out on the internet. I'm going to play this clip, but I'm going to play it from a white woman. Yep, I'm going to play it from a white woman. And I don't want to spend no more than 10 minutes on this. But let's talk about this because everybody in my comments saying, Anton, let's talk about segregation, blah, blah, blah. So this is our resident white woman who got a lot of views. And so I wanted to get the most popular video that I can find. It just so happened to be a snow hare, a snow bunny. And this is what she has to say about us mobilizing about the fact that Trump is now bringing back segregation. Check it out.
It's time to speak up. They're rolling back segregation. They are rolling back segregation. It is now no longer illegal to require separate facilities for people of different races. It is no longer illegal to say, here's the white water fountain and here's the colored water fountain. To be clear, the Civil Rights Act of 1964 is still in place and has not been disbanded. But we know what their goal is. There is always step one in a process, and we absolutely know what their goal is. They are rolling back segregation. What are we going to do about it?
Molly, you ain't never lied. Oh my God. Molly, you ain't never lied. I ain't even got there yet. I'm going to get there, Molly. I'm going to get there. We're going to talk about this. We're going to have some real conversations tonight on After Hours tonight. Let me finish playing what she got to say.
What are we going to do about it? Because this time, white people, we are the ones that are going to be on the front crossing that bridge. Do you hear me? We are the ones that are going to stand in the streets. Our black countrymen have done their time at the front of the lines, and it is our turn. It is our turn to face the water hoses and to face the dogs and to face the tear gas because we have let this happen. Not on my watch. Not while there is breath in me will we go back. Is anybody out there with me?
Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. Uncut, bro. Uncut. You gotta. So before I deep dive into exactly what's going on, let me say this to all of my white people that watch this show. And I know it's a lot of y'all that don't like to reveal yourself because you don't want to be criticized and you smartly reserve yourself so that you don't get the bad end of the stick. Y'all so dramatic. Y'all want to be relevant so bad, especially my white women. White women, y'all want to be a part of a movement so bad. You want to be persecuted. So, you want something to stand up for. You ain't never been through nothing. Everything that you done ever had has been given to you. You've been blessed. You didn't even leverage the fact that you are blessed and your ancestors actually won and took advantage of everybody else. And so as a result, you want to be a victim so bad. You are dedicated to finding a cause to... Who's with me to go get water hosed? You want to be down in the dumps. You want to slum it in the hood. You want to come hang with people that you shouldn't hang with. You want to get a tattoo on your face and on your neck. You wasn't thinking about getting no teardrop on your eye. You wasn't thinking about that. Listen. Lady, that right here, look at the tanning lines. Look at the tanning lines. Look at this. You want to be a victim so bad. Why don't you just go and be a normal human being? Nobody asked for your help. Respectfully. Nobody. Before we even get into this thing and deep dive into it, I just want to let y'all know that we are not interested. Nobody is interested in your victim Olympics, and nobody needs you to participate. As a matter of fact, all you can do is just be quiet at this point. Just shut up. Every time that y'all got involved with something, everything just got messed up. Can we be frank? Can we be just honest? Every time that you got involved with something, every time, even all the way back in slavery, the minute that a black man decided that he wanted to bust you down, then they wanted to start cutting off our penises. Look at that big old soul pole. Heck no. Every time you get involved, feminism, then the black women just follow right on behind you. You white liberal women. And it ain't even all white women. It's the liberal ones. The white liberal women, you can't wait to get abused and used. And then you recruited black women to join you. and then you became the number one minority, the ones that benefited from diversity, equity, and inclusion. They finessed y'all out of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and you fell right along with it. Then you decided that you wanted to be gay. And so black women and black men decided to follow you right on along with that. Oh my God, we're trans, we're LGBTQ community, we want to do this. And now you want to get water hosed. Listen, the only thing that you can get hosed down on is, I think you know what that is. That's an after hours conversation, and we don't want to do that. And don't get me wrong, I like my snow bunnies. I think that snow bunnies is cool. But the same way that I go off on the black community for being toxic is the same way that I'm going to go off on the white women in the white community for being toxic. Shut up. Don't nobody care. Oh my God, segregation is coming. Do you know what would happen if somebody decided that they wanted to have a black water fountain and a white water fountain? That business would go out of business so fast, nobody would care. It would just be a dead business. It's the same way that people will try to market themselves and say, I'm a black business. Okay, well, you segmented yourself against the majority of the population. I'm cool with people segregating themselves. All we doing is taking off the guardrails and saying, okay, show me who you are. Are you racist? Are you a white racist? Are you a black racist? Either way, we're not going to support you and you're going to go out of business. So if you want to have a whites only bathroom or the black only bathroom, I don't think it matters either way because nobody cares. You're just going to put yourself out of business. You're going to put yourself out of business, stupid. So you're going to go. You know the thing that I never understood? Let me tell you what I never understood. I never understood, for example, the reverse psychology. If somebody says, oh, you can't afford to be in this dealership, you can't afford this car, you need to go. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to leave. Because why would I be protesting you to give you my money? What kind of head job did they do on y'all to convince you that you need to make sure that you go into a place where you're not wanted? I believe in going where I'm celebrated, not where I'm tolerated. Oh, please give me an opportunity to be able to buy a pie from you. Why? Okay, he don't want my business. I'm going to go do business where they actually treat me well and they do business with me. Nobody's begging to spend money with anybody anymore. There's so many options. There's so many opportunities you can go and get. You don't like this one, you go do that one. You don't like this one, you don't go do that one. That's why I don't understand why everybody is mad at Tesla or Elon Musk. It's like, okay, so if you don't like the car, then go and buy another car. But why do you care about what it is that I'm doing with my money? Why are people so dead set on being a victim? Everything is not a victim situation. It's not. You don't like this shoe brand? Okay. I stopped buying Nikes a long time ago. What was that, like 2 years ago when that whole Kyrie Irving thing was popping off and Black Lives Matters was happening? And it was simple. I said, you know what? I'm done buying Nikes. I'm not rocking with them no more. I'm done buying Adidas. I'm not rocking with them no more. I don't buy those brands. I buy other brands that I like to. I still got a bunch of Nikes that I purchased prior to. I still like Jordan 11s if I decide that I ever want. But Nike became too woke, and so I no longer wanted to support them. Disney. I don't have to go and see a Disney movie. I'm chilling. I'm not interested in really seeing a Disney movie. I'm cool with that. I can choose to spend my money wherever I want. Nobody is stopping me. I'm not begging you. I'm not about to get water holes. That's not even true. So anyways, without further ado, let me deep dive into it. I think that USA Today had a pretty decent article about it where they kind of broke down what exactly was going on. And you know what's so funny about black people? You can't please black people either way. Because there's some people that say, I don't like Martin Luther King because he led us into a burning bush by making sure that we integrated with white people. That we integrated with white people. Oh, this is the Big U interview that I had pulled up. So this is what's happening. All right. Let me clear this off, these cookies real quick. Real quick. So, courtesy of USA Today, it says the Trump administration is no longer requiring bans on segregated facilities in government contracts. So, it's verbiage inside of contracts that you can, it doesn't mean that you're going to get approved, but basically, you just need to put in there whatever it is that you plan on doing for the federal government, and you don't have to say that, no, I will not segregate against other people. And this is what the headline is saying. All right. It deep dives and goes in to say the Trump administration is no longer requiring an explicit prohibition of segregated facilities in new government contracts. Now, when you say segregated facilities, I take that to mean something completely different, but I'm going to deep dive into it. February 15 memo from the U.S. General Services was first reported by NPR on Tuesday. Segregation is still illegal in the United States of America, and the memo states contractors are still subjected to laws on civil rights and non-discrimination. So they're still subjected to civil rights and non-discrimination. But the directive from the GSA, which is the General Services Administration, which manages federal property and sources contracting options for other agencies, came in response to one of President Trump's executive orders aimed at rolling back diversity, equity, and inclusion in federal government. And here's what to know about the order. So basically, what they're saying is removing diversity, equity, and inclusion and going based off of a merit-based system. Okay, I got to break it down for the people in the back and make it very plain and very simple for you so that you don't listen to people on social media and you can actually understand it from a C student's perspective. Means that we're removing language broadly across the board that rolls back diversity, equity, and inclusion. So basically, we don't want any kind of verbiage that says that somebody should get a leg up because they are or have declared themselves to be different than a regular, normal human being that's either a male or a female. You don't get preferential treatment when it comes to the verbiage that goes inside of these contracts. You should not be prioritized. It should not even be an issue. It should not be an issue. It's not that we're rolling back segregation. It's that we don't need that verbiage anymore because we're going off of a merit-based system. And also what government contractors have largely done over a long period of time is give themselves a leg up on their competitors by putting in there that they're a black woman, or you're a white woman, or you're a minority-owned business, or all of these different things. And so what people are basically saying is that, oh, we need all of these languages and all of these protections to make sure that I can use a whites-only bathroom or a blacks-only bathroom, and they're spinning it looking like they're wanting to get hosed down, and they want to make sure that we need to stand up for black people. But the reality is that it's just far-reaching, wide-reaching language that we need to remove across the board because diversity, equity, and inclusion should not play a role in whether or not you get a government contract. The federal government should not be getting sued by you feeling discriminated against because you felt like you was held accountable and all this other stuff. Goes on to say, following the anti-DEI order, the federal agencies nixed 1960 segregation prohibition from contracts. The memo states that the changes to the contract and solicitation terms for federal agencies are necessary after Trump's January 21st executive order titled Ending Illegal Discrimination and Restoring Merit-Based Opportunity. It's exactly what I just described, okay? Along with other programs Trump considered under the diversity, equity, and inclusion and accessibility umbrella, the order revoked the 1965 Equal Opportunity Employment or Equal Employment Opportunity Executive Order signed by former President Lyndon B. Johnson. Johnson's order required the government contracts to include non-discrimination language in its place, to include, not disclude, in its place. The memo lays out contracts do not include provisions including 52.222-21 prohibition of segregated facilities, which includes restrooms, drinking fountains, and transportation. So if you are telling me that we are rolling back segregation and that at some point they're going to start developing restrooms that says white only and black only, then y'all are so delusional and y'all need something else better to do with your time. Y'all genuinely need something better to do with your time. The last thing that I'm worried about is getting caught up in a whites only bathroom or using, I don't even drink out of drinking fountains. I don't even drink regular water. I use bottled water now. The last thing that I'm worried about is getting to the back of the bus with transportation, hitting a drinking fountain that I don't even like, or going to restrooms that I don't care about. Come on, man. Y'all can't be this dense. I know that y'all didn't ask me to speak about this. Seriously. You really, and I'm going to add it in tomorrow, what I anticipated ending the show with. We're going to talk about it. It's a review video. Y'all seriously want me to focus on this stupid social media trend that everybody else is talking about, and y'all don't know how to research and read and look at exactly what's going on for yourselves? Y'all are all hopping on a trend and speaking about something that you're not even familiar with? Seriously? Seriously. What is it, Thursday? Friday Eve? Anton, could you please speak on segregation? Anton, could you please speak on it? What is Trump doing to bring about segregation? It's all a distraction, bro. It's literally all a distraction. It's dumb. It's stupid. We are so easily finessed. And I'll do you one better. Usually it's something else happening that's much bigger that we should be paying attention to when you're usually being distracted by this foolishness that everybody is hopping on a trend for. Usually there is something much bigger that we should be focused on whenever we start to get distracted and confused by stuff that don't have nothing to do with the price of tea in China. It's always something stupid that we focusing on that we shouldn't be. We need to be focusing on making sure that we get our kids educated, that we take care of business, that we clean up our communities, that we understand exactly what policies is being introduced. We need to understand what's happening on the local community and the local politics and what's happening with our governors, what legislation they pushing through that you're probably not even aware of. But we so worried on the dumb stuff, so distracted on things that don't even matter. And shout out to my snow bunnies that want to be victims so bad. Congratulations to y'all. Whenever y'all lose rights, Whenever y'all decide, whenever somebody take a right for you, whether it's the women for being able to eliminate their babies as a result of as a form of contraception, you want to go and get an abortion. When you lose that right, or you lose the right to be able to drink in a water fountain, that's not whites only. If you lose the right to be able to vote, or you lose the right to be able to go and get a job, y'all let me know, and then I'll come back and I'll hold myself accountable and say, you know what, I was wrong. You guys are being segregated against. You're being discriminated against. We need to make sure that we get them whites only pies again, and I'll get into it. Whites only pies. Whites only pies. When somebody tell me a right that I lost in Trump's first term or Trump's second term, can somebody just tell me about a right that I lost that I'm not aware of? Somebody tell me something that I can't do that I was already able to do that I lost the right to be able to do since he got in office. Can anybody tell me that? Somebody. Can somebody tell me a right that I lost that I had that I no longer have as a result of the first term or the second term? But y'all asked me to talk about it. Here we are. Let me read some of these super chats, and then I'm going to get y'all up out of here. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon if you're looking to level up with a group of people that don't care what you look like. They only care about whether or not you're a good person and you want to learn and you want to level up. That link is in the description. And make sure y'all subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Hit a like on your way out the door. N8 says segregation should be as illegal as integration, except for public services. Let people do business with whom they want, for better or for worse. J Dubs says, is this a Saturday Night Live sketch? No, they be serious. They be really crying in their living rooms. The white liberals Malcolm X told us about them. Chris Cunningham says, 80, you have to stop. Love my brain cells. Carrington, shout out to Carrington Love Jr. says, you run a great show, Anton. You are the best national news broadcast in the nation. God bless. I'm proud of you, 32 years old from North Carolina. Big money, bro. Oh, let me give you a round of applause for that one. Easy Lamar says, why do white women always come with the fear-mongering? Molly says, what's her ulterior motive? To get more TikTok followers, that's all. Rush King 19 goes on to say, AD, their lives are boring, so they want to act and feel like they're making some big change and that their life has meaning by fighting for something. I know Jazz is in a white woman costume when I see it. Come on, AD, all together now. We shall overcome. Cozell says, here's the ingredients. Cook. Chris Cunningham says, victim lives matters. Manuel AG says, I'm an E student. What does segregation mean? Frank Whitaker says, removing discrimination and discriminatory equity ideology from the Foreign Service is the name of the executive order as of March 19th this year. The key word is Foreign Service. That lady obviously didn't read the executive order. It is public information. Tap In Podcast says, facts. Segregation is still illegal because of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. This change removes an extra rule that reinforced the ban in federal contracts. Appreciate your C students' perspective. Executive Suite MLE says, we talking about fountains? Fountains? Keith Murphy, the Unbeaten, says, closing DOE, the Department of Education, hurts red states. That federal money comes from blue states like Cali and NY. Mr. Jones says, appreciate all that you do. Hope you have a good day. And Birders Baby Boy says, we lost the right to remain ignorant. Shout out to y'all. I appreciate you. Master Irrigation says they need to hold the Democratic Party for inciting riots and fear-mongering. I'm so tired of this trash culture. Shout out to y'all. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Y'all have been great this show as usual. Thursday Eve, don't fumble the bag. Friday, we get into it. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at y'all on After Hours tonight. Peace.